Now, having said that, what do we get out of all this Quranic discussion? First and foremost, the Quranic revelation or Wahi invites its readers to rational analysis, intellectual development, exploration into universe, and application of logic and scientific thinking. In this simple statement, what we are saying is that Islam is not a dogmatic faith. In Islam, it is not a matter of blind belief. The Quran is not just a statement which you accept without any use of reason, but on every page of the Quran, it invites its readers, Muslims or non-Muslims, to think critically, use their faculties, and then recognize it. In other words, the whole argument about quote unquote religion, that religion means blind belief, set of dogmas as defined, and as we ourselves, due to our lack of knowledge, think about religion, the Quran smashes that concept and tells us that Islam as deen invites people to think critically, think rationally, and come up with all possible queries and questions in order to understand what is ultimate truth. Then it tells us that we should make use of observation and audition. So, in places the Quran says your hearing, sama, wal basar, and your seeing all have been given to you, this samat and basarat, in order that you may utilize them properly and learn with the help of these faculties what is truth, what is reality. Whatever I see in a laboratory, is that ultimately true and real, or something beyond that? And all that is a rational process, thought process. Therefore, the Quran becomes first and primary source of Islamic thought. Then it keeps on reminding about conduct of introspection and critical thinking. Whatever we hear as sound, as voice, whatever we see as something written, happening, they go somewhere in our brain, and there you have a very articulate system which gives them meaning. You hear a noise, you interpret it is a bomb blast. You hear a noise, you interpret it is birds which are making praise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You hear a noise, you say it is thunderstorm, something happening in the sky. Well, how we do it? We just hear something. Therefore, introspection, this whole process of giving meaning is worth thinking and consideration. And then all that leads us to further deep analysis. So, the Quran tells us how to find correlationship between creator, man and universe. We cannot see the creator, but we can see the creation. We can see universe. We can see our own body, human being. Those who look on human being as a combination of psychic phenomena, those who look at human being as a combination of physical phenomena, those who look at human beings as a combination of certain experiences, and so on and so forth. Every approach looks on human being from one or the other angle. Unknowingly, we commit a logical fallacy, which is known as reductionism. So, a psychiatrist looks on a normal human being from purely psychological viewpoint and sometimes discovers in his or her patients his own problems and then start treating them. And same with a physician who sometimes misinterprets temperature. It may be due to infection, it may be due to the body exertion, it may be due to some other external factors, but interpretation is done by the expert, and sometimes right, sometimes wrong. Therefore, the Quran wants every reader of the book to use all these faculties, and that is why it is basic source of thought. Unfortunately, again, we Muslims, out of our reverence and respect for the Quran, have reduced the Quran also to just some kind of reward and blessing. Even those who cannot read Arabic, they use their finger to go on every line of the Quran, because they think by this way we are getting blessing, reward. The Quran never said that. The Quran never said you get blessing by putting your finger on every line. It only said that think about me, read me carefully, understand me, analyze me, and then act accordingly. Therefore, what we are saying and where our discussion is leading now is that while the Quran is revelation, not a human creation, not because of social influence, the Quran is not a reflection of 7th century Common Era Arabia, as every book is. Karl Marx, John Stuart Mill, you name any of the sociologists, psychologists, philosophers, all of them, whatever they said, is a reflection of their age. But Quran is a text that changes time and is not product of time. It changes history, not product of history. It is not confined to 7th century. It provides guidance for human thought to be created for all times to come. Therefore, what we are saying here is that revelation is not just something which we respect and keep securely locked in a shelf. Normally, you will find that copies of the Quran are wrapped in velvet and put somewhere in a shelf, so no one can reach them, no one can teach and understand them, and not even touch, but just see from a distance that we have Quran. It will not allow any genies to come in home. It is highly unrealistic and irrational to take that approach about the Quran.